Okay, so let's get started on the crochet lab tutorial for the Lily Pond baby blanket. So we're going to use the exact same yarn as what was seen in the look-see video, but a different colorway. So in the original Herrschners kit, it included the color Sprout, Clouds, Kitty, Pool, and Splash. Today we're going to use the colorways Pansy, let's see, Raindrops, Baby Doll, and Clouds. So it's the exact same worsted baby yarn, 4-ply medium weight, and it is machine wash and dry. One thing I love about Herrschners yarn is they have these pull tabs. It says on it, it says easy start, and that makes it really easy to find your starter yarn. We're going to first start with the colorway Raindrops, and we're going to use a 4mm crochet hook or a G6, and we're going to need to chain 194 chains. So first we're going to make our slip knot, and then we'll start to make chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you're going to continue to chain until you have 194 chains on your hook, and then we'll meet back up. Okay, so now I have 194 chains on my hook. We're going to begin by working a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So you can either choose to go through the second loop, or you can do like me. I like to go through the back hump. So the second back hump, one single crochet. Then you're going to make another single crochet in the next chain, single crochet. Okay, next you're going to skip the next chain. So this chain right here you're going to skip, and you're going to put 9 single crochets after you skip that one in the next 9 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next you're going to make your first increase, which will be 3 single crochets in the very next chain. So right here you're going to do 1, 2, 3 single crochets all in the same chain, and that's your first increase. Then you're going to go in the very next chain, which is right here, and you're going to do 9 single crochets in the next 9 chains. So that was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now you're going to make your first decrease, and that's very simply done by skipping the next 2 chains. So you're going to skip this one, you're going to skip this one, And in that next chain, you're going to do 9 single crochets in the next 9 chains. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And as you can see now, you're developing your ripple. So if you look closely, it'll look like that. Okay? So now we're going to continue with that pattern of 9 single crochets, then our 3 single crochets in the same stitch as our increase, then 9 single crochets, then skip 2 single crochets, and that's our repeat. So now we're going to do 3 single crochets in the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3. That's our increase. Now 9 single crochets and the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're going to do our decrease. So our decrease, remember we skip the next 2 chains. So skip, skip, and then we're going to do 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to continue like that. So next you'll do your 3 single crochets in 1 stitch for your increase, 9 single crochets, then you're going to skip 2 chains for your decrease and 9 single crochets, and you're going to work that all the way to the very last 3 chains on your hook, and then we'll go from there. So see you soon. Okay, so now you should have 3 chains left. So 1, 2, 3. So what you will do to finish out your foundation row is you're going to skip this first chain right here. You're going to skip it. You're going to do a single crochet and the next chain and a single crochet and the chain after, and that will finish out your foundation row. Now, a couple things I would advise you to do before you move on is first, make sure your chevron pattern is correct with your decreases and increases. You should have 9 chevrons. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and my last chevron 9. So you should have 9 chevrons on your foundation row. If everything looks okay, you're ready to move on to, guess what? Your repeat. So your repeat row. The next row that we're going to do, you're going to continue this row all the way out until you have finished out, okay? And are ready for the border. So what you're going to do next is you're going to chain 1. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch, okay? Now, pay close attention because things will change just a little teeny bit. So you're going to do your first 2 stitches. So remember, your chain 1 does not count. So in your very first chain, you're going to single crochet. And then you're going to single crochet around both loops of the chain. The next one, you're going to single crochet around both loops. Next is where things change just slightly. And this is what's going to give your blanket that really nice texture along your chevron. So instead of going through, so you're going to skip this next stitch. This is skipped, remember? Your next stitch and here throughout, except for on the last 2 stitches, you're going to work in the back loops only. So you're going to skip this next stitch. You're going to go through the back loop right here. So you're not going to do this. You're going to do this in each stitch. So working in the back loops, you're going to do 1 back loop, 2 back loop, 3 back loop, 4 back loop, 5 back loop, 6 back loop, 7 back loop, 8 back loop, 9. And then also in the back loop only, you're going to do your increase, those 3 stitches. And the next stitch, 3 single crochets in the back loop only. And that's number 3. And then you're going to do your next single crochets in the next 9 stitches, back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now you're going to do your decrease by skipping your next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip here, we're going to skip here, and we're going to go in the very next stitch, back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to repeat that pattern. So back loop only, we're going to do our increase, back loop only. 1, 2, 3 stitches in the same back loop, and then 9 single crochets in the next 9 stitches, back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we're going to complete that pattern until we get again to the last 3 stitches, and I'll meet you back there. Okay, so now we've reached the last 3 stitches of this row. So again, we're going to skip this next stitch, and instead of working in the back 2 loops, the last 2 stitches, we're going to use both loops. So single crochet and a single crochet. So what is different about that row is that the last 2 stitches and the first 2 stitches, I'm sorry, let's say it in order. The first 2 stitches and the last 2 stitches, you're going to use both loops. You're going to put your single crochet in both loops. The rest of the stitches, you're using back loops only. So for the next one, again, you're going to chain 1 for the next row. So for color change, you're going to do each color for 4 rows. Each color for 4 rows. So we're going to repeat the row that we just did again. So in the same color, so we're going to go through both loops. Single crochet in the second for both loops, skip the next stitch. In the very next one, we're going to single crochet in the back loop of the next 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then we're going to make our increase in the back loop, 3 single crochets in the same back loop, 1, 2, 3, and 9 single crochets in the back loop of the next 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we're going to do our decrease. So we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, skip. The next 9, we're going to do 9 single crochets in the back loop only. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you're going to continue in this pattern. You're going to do in this one color 4 rows. So we're working right now on row number 3. So you're going to complete row number 3, and then you're going to do the exact same pattern again for row number 4, and then we'll meet again. Okay, now I am at the end of row 4. Now a couple of things before we complete the last few stitches in row 4. Remember that I said you're going to do 4 rows of each color. Now an easy way to know that you've done 4 rows, other than knowing you do 4 rows, is you can count the ridges. So 1, 2 at the inner, 3, 4 at the inner. So I know I have completed 4 rows of this color. Okay, now I want to talk about a little bit of troubleshooting before we finish off row 4. One thing, if your chevrons start to get a little wonky, then the first thing I would check is make sure you did, when you start your row, you do 2 single crochets, both loops, and then skip a stitch, and then make your 9 single crochets. So sometimes people forget to skip that stitch when they first started in their row. Okay, second thing is make sure that after you do your 9 stitches, make sure that you're putting 3 stitches, 3 single crochets in 1 stitch for your increase. The next thing you want to make sure is when you get to your decrease that you actually do skip 2 stitches for your decrease. So those are some of the things that I would troubleshoot. Also, when you get towards the end. Again, you want to make sure when you get to the end of the last 3 stitches in each row that you skip a stitch and then put a single crochet in both loops of the last 2 stitches. And then to make sure that you're getting your beautiful texture in your ridges, remember that you need to do those single crochets, except for the last 2 and the first 2, in the back loops only, to get your beautiful texture ridges that you see here. Okay, so we're going to finish off in we're going to finish off row 4. So we're going to skip a stitch, then we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. Now, because we're going to change our color and we're going to change our next color, we're going to do 4 rows of this white. We're going to make a slip knot. Okay, we got our slip knot. We're going to do a partial single crochet. So we're going to put our partial single crochet, pull up a loop. Then we're going to join our white and complete the stitch. Now we have our white joined on, and we're going to chain 1. So now we're going to fasten off or cut our yarn. Let me find my handy dandy scissors. I got these big gigantic ones, but I'll get my small ones. So we're going to cut that yarn, okay? And we're going to tie it off to secure it. I initially tie mine in a kind of not a really tight, just a 1 knot initially, because I like to make sure that everything is flowing okay before I tie it off tightly with a 2nd knot. So now we're going to start our same pattern. We're going to do our same chevron pattern in the same way with the white. Starting with, we put our chain 1 there. We're going to turn our work. We're going to go in that first stitch because our chain 1 does not count. Single crochet. Next, single crochet. Next, we're going to skip this stitch and 9 in the back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 single crochets and 1 back loop stitch, 9 single crochets in the next 9 back loops, we're going to skip 2 chains and then 9. Same exact pattern. Okay? So you're going to make 4 rows with the white, and then we'll meet again. Okay, so now I'm finishing off this 4th row, the 4th row of this color. So I'm going to single crochet in this loop, and then in this final stitch, we're going to make a partial single crochet. I'm going to make a slip. Okay, I have my slip knot, and I'll attach it to my hook and pull it through both loops. Then I'm going to chain 1. And then we'll cut the white yarn. Bing. Okay. And now I'm going to loosely put a loose knot here. Okay. Now we've already did our chain 1, so we're going to restart our same stitch pattern in this new color. So we're going to single crochet in both loops, single crochet in the next stitch in both loops, skip this next stitch, and then we're going to single crochet back loops only in the next 9. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we're going to 3 single crochets in the back loop of the next stitch. 1, 2, 3, and that was for our increase. And then single crochet back loops only in the next 9 stitches. 1, 2, oops, sorry. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we're going to skip 2 stitches for our decrease, and then 9 single crochets in the back loops only. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we're going to continue that pattern, repeat until we get to the end. We're going to do 4 rows in this new color, and then we'll come meet up again to do one more color change. Okay, so now I'm going to finish off the round of the stripes colored yarn. So we're going to skip a stitch, single crochet through both loops, then we're going to do a partial single crochet because we're going to attach our next color yarn. So we're going to use our really nice Herrschners pull tab. Going to make a slip knot. There we go. And we're going to attach that slip knot here. Pull it through those 2 loops on my hook and chain 1. Sorry, chain 1. Okay, so we're going to cut off our striped yarn. I'm going to be careful that I'm cutting the right yarn. So I'm going to cut my striped yarn, put it in a loose, just a single knot. So we've already chained 1, which remember does not count as a stitch. We're gonna crochet a single crochet right into this first stitch through both loops. Then we're going to do another single crochet and the next through both loops. Then we're going to start our chevron pattern again. Skip this stitch we're going to skip, and start in our back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 single crochets in the next back loop. So that's 1, 2, that's number 3. Then we're going to do 9 in the back loop in the next 9 stitches. That's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So we're going to skip this stitch, we're going to skip this stitch, and then we'll start our pattern again here. So we're going to complete 4 rows of this purple color. And once we complete those 4 rows, then we're just going to continue with our color sequence. So we'll do the green, the white, the striped, and then the purple. So we need to do a total of 8 reps of each color sequence. So we'll have 8 reps of the green, 8 reps of the white, 8 reps of the striped, 8 reps of the purple to finish off our blanket. Once we have completed 8 reps of each color, then we're going to continue and end with 4 rows of your green. Okay? 4 rows of your first color we're going to end with. So we end with this color and we begin with this color. 4 rows. Okay? And then we're making great progress. So once you have completed your 8 color sequences and then your 4 rows of your beginning color, then we will be ready to start our border. So I'll meet you back once you have completed that, and then we'll work on the border. Okay, so we are back, and I have finished off the main part of the blanket. So I have 8 repetitions, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 colors of the chevron pattern, and then I ended with my same green that I started with in the very beginning. So here's my same green. So now we're going to start to work on the border. The border is done utilizing the pattern calls it reverse single crochet. I call it crab stitch only because that's what my grandmother taught me the name of it is. So we'll use both interchangeably, but most of the time you'll hear me say crab stitch. So the pattern asks for you to join your striped colored yarn at the end after you fastened off your green. Sorry, there we go. After you fastened off your green, it asks you to bring in your stripe colored yarn. So we're going to join our stripe colored yarn. There we go. So I'm going to do that. Now it's asking you to do a reversed single crochet. So how you do that is simply a single crochet but in the reverse. So if you think about it that way, it's not as difficult. Now what I want to say is give it a try. If you really are having difficulty, then what I would tell you to do as an alternative, you can do single crochets around your blanket and it'll look just as beautiful. So don't stress out if you're having a lot of trouble, but give it a try. Even if you have to get some another piece of yarn and make some chains and then practice doing your crab stitch. So how you make a crab stitch is you're going to take your hook, you're going to insert it into both loops of the next stitch. Then you're going to bring up your 2 loops and pull through. Again, go in the back, go through both loops, pull up 2 stitches, wrap around, go through 2, pull up, go around, yarn over, pull through both. Okay? Go through both. And you kind of just keep doing that all the way around. Takes a little bit more time only because you have to just get used to doing your single crochets in the reverse. And if you mess up, you just pull out, put your hook back in, go front to back, pull up, go. Now some of the things that you might want to consider is when you go through the front to the back and you pull up your loop, make sure you give it just a little bit of give. Yarn over, pull through. And as you can see, as you keep doing it, you're going to get this beautiful little twisted braid. Pull through. And when you reach your peaks, you're going to just continue to do the same all the way around. Okay? So you're going to keep doing this, and once you reach your corner, I'll show you how to go down the sides. So see you back in a little bit. Okay, so now we've come to the corner stitch, which is right here. In the top of our blanket. So we're going to do another crab stitch right there. Okay, so there's our next crab stitch. Now I'm going to be, now the pattern, it just has you use this same colorway throughout the border. I'm going to just get a little creative so I can show you different other possibilities. I'm going to change colors for down the sides. So I'm just going to attach my new color, bring it in with a slip stitch, oops, sorry. Here we go. Here's my new color. I'm going to tie this down, and I'm just going to continue just with my all purple doing my crab stitch. Now, one thing that the pattern does not show you, or tell you, I'm sorry, is how to attack the sides when you're doing your crab stitch, because you want to make sure both of your sides are even, have the same amount or the even amount of stitches down the sides. So what I see and what I remember is, if you remember, each color has 4 rows. Okay, so I'm going to work my first crab in the first row, second crab, next row, third crab, and the next green, fourth crab, and the next green. And I'm going to keep going down. So my purple, if you remember, we did 4 rows. So I'm going to do 4 crabs in the purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my stripe, we got 4 rows, so I'll do 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then we'll continue in that same way, working down the side of our blanket. We're going to do, since we got 4 rows of white, we'll do 4 crab stitches, and then we're back on our green, 4 rows, so we'll do 4 crab stitches all the way down to the end, all the way down to the end. And then you want to continue on the bottom. It's the same way you did on the top. You're going to do a crab stitch in each single crochet that you have here. And then when you come to the next side, you want to do, since you got 4 rows of each color, you want to do 4 crab stitches in each color row. So here, your green, you'll do 4, your white, you'll do 4, your stripe, you'll do 4, your purple, you'll do 4. That way, you're ensured that you'll have the same amount of crab stitches on both sides of your blanket, and your blanket won't end up being wonky, like taller on one side or shorter on the other. Now, as you can see, I said I wanted to be a little bit creative and show you some other things you can do. So I did the striped on the top, and I'm going to do purple on the sides. Okay, but you can also just continue with your stripes all the way around like they said in the pattern. But just remember, sometimes with patterns, you can still just be a little creative and make it your very own. It's okay to do that. All right, see you soon. Okay, so here is our completed blanket. Looks very nice. Very nice. Here's our crab stitch edging on the chevron, and then I did, remember I said I was going to do a little bit different, and I did the purple edging on the side. So blanket came out absolutely lovely, and I'm sure that yours will too. Really nice, really nice. Okay, on to the next Crochet Lab tutorial, guys. I'll see you soon with a new crochet tutorial. Look forward to it. Bye-bye.